Hello dear students, we are revising the chapter The Central Islamic Lands, and from this chapter today's topic of revision is Abdul Malik's coinage reform and Abbasid revolution. To start up with Abdul Malik, during the reign of Abdul Malik, that is from 685 to 705, and his successors, both the Arab and Islamic identities were strongly emphasized. Among the measures Abdul Malik took were the adoption of Arabic as the language of administration and the introduction of an Islamic coinage. Now, earlier, the Byzantine and Iranian coins were of two types. They were called denarius and drachm. Drachm and denarius, with the symbols of crosses and fire altars and Greek on it. Crosses and fire altars, you can understand, represents Christianity, and it was imprinted with the language of Pahlavi. Pahlavi was the language of Iran. So inscriptions of Pahlavi language and the images imprinted were of fire altars and even the crosses. Now Abdul Malik, he removed all these symbols, and the coins now carried Arabic inscriptions. If you look at the coins very closely, you can see that first coin here shows Byzantine Old Solidus. Solidus, I think you already can recall, is a pure gold coin. So pure gold coins were called dinars and silver coins were called dirhams during the Abdul Malik's age. Earlier, during the Byzantine period, they were called denarius and drachm. Now the name got changed into dinar and dirham. So the first coin which we are looking at now, it shows the Emperor Hercules and his two sons. The second coin, if you look closely at the second coin, you can see that it shows the bearded and long-haired caliph who is dressed in the traditional Arab robes and is holding a sword, and it is the first extant portrait of a Muslim. It is also unique because later they developed an antipathy towards the representation of living beings. Now, if you look at the coin closely, you can understand that how does an Arab look? He used to have long beard, long hair, and used to wear robes, not the way what Christians used to wear, pants and trousers and all. And the sword in the hand of this Arab shows that they are powerful. Now, if you look closely to the third coin, the reformed dinar was purely epigraphic, because here it doesn't carries any picture. But this carries the kalma of Quran, which says that there is no God but only Allah, and He has no partner or sharik. Allah is all alone. So tactfully you can understand that the inscriptions on this coin, because there were trade and commerce which was taking place, so Abdul Malik tactfully used the coins to spread Islam and to tell the rest of the world about the Arab and Islamic identities. And also Abdul Malik adopted Arabic as the language of administration. And the introduction of an Islam coinage shows that he had this, larger view of spreading Islam through coinage. And how does a Muslim look like? He kept a note on the second coin. If you see the portrait of gold dinar of Abdul Malik, he inscripted his name. So who is Abdul Malik? Who is this caliph? How does he look? What is his name? What is Islam all about? Who is Allah? The three coins were very, very tactfully used to spread out the message. Now, going further ahead with the Abbasid revolution, for their success in centralizing the Muslim polity, the Umayyads who were now ruling, this Umayyad dynasty, they paid a heavy price. A well-organized movement called Dawa brought down the Umayyads and replaced them with another family of Meccan origin, who were the Abbasids. Now, Abbasids portrayed the Umayyad regime as evil and promised a restoration of original Islam of Prophet. Why? Because the Abbas or the Prophet's uncle was one of the descendants of the Abbasids. And the revolution led not only to a change of dynasty, but also changes in the political structure and culture of Islam. The Abbasid uprising broke out in the distant region of Khurasan, and which was almost 20 days journey for Damascus. And there was a battle which took place. Abbasid descendant, who was the descendants, Abbas, the Prophet's uncle, he mustered the support of the various descendant groups and legitimized their bid for power for promising that a Masiha, Masiha means the savior from the family of Prophet, would liberate them from the oppressive Umayyad regime. And their army was led by an Iranian slave who was known as Abu Muslim. Now, Abu Muslim defeated the last Umayyad Caliph who was called Marwan. So, Marwan was defeated by Abu Muslim, and this is called the battle which was fought at the side of river Zab. So, with the defeat of Caliph Marwan, Abu Muslim, he established Abbasid in that region, and as promised, the restoration of the original Islam which was preached by Prophet, because we have already seen, we have earlier also in detail when we read the chapter, we have seen that when so many caliphs, one after the other, were coming into power, there was a dilution of this religion, or the preachings, you can rather say, of Prophet Muhammad. So when Abbasid came into power, the first thing they tried was to restore the original Islam which was taught by Prophet Muhammad. Thank you, children, and I hope the revision classes are helping you out. And we will be revising tomorrow about the social economic, specifically condition of the Islamic land, and we will be concluding the chapter revision tomorrow. Thank you so much, and God bless you all.